All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is August 16th. This is MVP Office Hours. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Jackie Travieso. Normally I have by my virtual side Jared Kingston and Dale Ziegler. Dale may be joining us kind of halfway through. He's got a client call today, and then Jared is celebrating a milestone anniversary, so he's got the day off. Normally when we kick off these calls, we go through a couple of links and talk about some community-led events. The links at the top of the screen there are the links that we see every month so far. I haven't found a need to change those yet. If you have not taken a look at the all events or the Salesforce Cloud Services bit.ly there, I suggest that you dive into that and see if there are any events that tickle your fancy and fill a need. Those are both Salesforce and community-led events, so there's kind of a mix there. Then our next little box, we've got the Dreamin' events, which are all community-led. Florida Dreamin's coming up, September. You've got the Northeast Dreamin', French Touch, so we've got some international or global events listed here. Surf Force, which I hear they have a great time after their Dreamforce event, they all go surfing. Then you've got North Africa Dreamin', which that is the first time I'm hearing of this, so that sounds like a lot of fun. And then Down Under Dreamin'. So if you are traveling the globe, or if you need an excuse to, hit Brisbane, maybe you could get that approved by your organization and go hit Down Under Dreamin' or any of the others. Okay, so let's move on. This call, we like to make sure that everyone knows that they can participate. We ask you to share your experiences, your input, any recommendations you have, any references. If you know somebody who knows something about the topic that's being discussed, please make the recommendation for us to make those connections. If you haven't already, please go ahead and mute yourself. We just want to eliminate background noise wherever possible. And to ask a question, you can do one of two things. You can raise your hand in the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself if we've got some dead air, and just go ahead and announce yourself and ask your question. So you can use the chat to post resources and links as we get this discussion going. And if you want to share your screen, we can certainly do that. We just like to advise that you make sure you're not sharing anything that is confidential or, of course, customer data. This call takes place the first and third Friday of the month. Our next call is September 6th. It is an open Q&A, so please feel free to ask anything that you'd like. You might want to bookmark the bit.ly there listed under registration so that you can quickly and easily register for each of these calls. You probably are also receiving emails if we have your email address, and or you may be following us on Twitter as well. We do record these calls, and we do post them to both the community link on Twitter and then our YouTube channel. If you want to use a couple of our favorite hashtags, we love to use hashtag Problem Solved Together, Community Learner, and MVPOH, which stands for Office Hours. All right, do we have any MVPs on the line? I'd just like to call you out if you're there. Raise your hand. I don't. Oh, good. We've got some, and I have not met either of you. So please, would you two, is it Umair and Carl, can you guys take yourselves off mute and introduce yourself so we can get an idea of who you are, where you are, and what areas you dabble in?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Umair. I am a new MVP for 2019. I'm also the user group leader for Salesforce New York, and I am also a consultant at Silverline.
Fantastic. It is wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're able to join us.
Glad to be here.
Thank you. And Carl.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carl Brundage. I am a certified technical architect in Pennsylvania, not far from Philadelphia. I co-lead the Lehigh Valley Developers User Group, and I also do a lot of work inside of Einstein Analytics.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to have you. All right. For those of you who are new to the call, for first-time callers, global presence. We've got a presence in EMEA and in the language of Portuguese. You can follow those other two groups at their Twitter handles. And I would say for the group, the Portuguese group, you do not have to speak Portuguese in order to participate and or bring value to that group. Carlos does a fantastic job of translating into both languages. Oftentimes the language is English that is spoken, so if we can lend our support and recommendations to that group, I know that they would really appreciate it. They've always got some really great questions. All right, let's go and get this party started. Let me check and see. Oh, and like I said, I'm running this call solo today, so let that be just kind of a cautionary note in case I'm a little slow with maneuvering between windows and stuff. All right, so let's see here. I think Scott had a question. Scott S. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
Hi. So I have a question about managed packages, if anybody knows the answer. So my question is about you create them in developer environments or in developer orgs, and then it seems like there's one not DNS entry, but one namespace per package. And I'm just kind of trying to understand like a little bit more context and how these packages work. The license manager org that you can configure. Each package has its own namespace. How do people manage multiple? I guess my understanding is like packages can talk to each other, but you have to like make the particular components global when they talk to each other. Do I have any other questions on managed packages? I think that's basically it on the managed packages. If anybody has kind of insight to how they work.
How about our developers who are on the line? Is that something that you've worked in?
This is Carl. I can take that question. I've actually put 3 managed packages out on the App Exchange at various companies.
Great. Go ahead, Carl. Thank you.
And Scott, I assume you're talking about the official program where you're a Salesforce partner. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the managed packages, however they're deployed. I guess technically I could make a managed package for my own organization if I wanted to kind of control how it was edited, right?
You could. You wouldn't have some of the other things that you mentioned around license control and license management. So at its core, a managed package, as you mentioned, it needs to have a namespace. So each namespace is unique. We can't have 2 namespaces called my namespace. Everyone across all Salesforce instances has to have a different one. So if you try and create one, it'll need to be unique. What happens is when you build the managed package, any code that you put inside of it, users wherein it installs or admins won't be able to see inside of that code. They won't be able to see what you wrote. Now, if you want to go and have further control, you can go through the Salesforce program of being a partner on the ISV side. And through there, you go through security review where your code is checked for vulnerabilities, make sure it enforces security. And then you have access to the other things that you mentioned, like the License Management Act, the LMA. Those type of things, once you go through the program, you sign your contract, pass security review, you can install in your own business org, so a different org than your namespace org, the license management app, and that controls how many licenses you give to people. So if customer B bought it, I could give them 10 licenses. If customer C bought it, I could give them 150, and they can distribute that to the users that want to run your managed package. I think there's a couple other questions in there. Sorry, I didn't get them all written down, but what else around managed package development did you have a question about?
Yeah, no, that was great. So, one thing that I didn't actually mention, there's also the environment
hub?
Yeah, environment hub. But then, so you're confirming that if I want to make a managed package, I'll actually use like a developer, like the developer, like not one of my actual orgs that come with my enterprise org. I'll use like a separate developer org.
Correct.
Or a developer partner org. And that thing will just be for this package.
Yeah. So the way we're set up, I have a main company org. In there, I have Environment Hub as a partner. From there, I can create various other types of orgs, one of them being a partner developer org. Well, what's the difference between a partner developer org and a regular developer org? It just has higher limits associated with it, so you can do a little bit more inside of that org. That main org has a namespace of my package in it. It's called HSP, so a very simple namespace. And that's where I build all the versions of my managed package. I won't get into all the different kind of environments with Scratch orgs and development and things you can do, but ultimately you get the code in there into the namespace org that is your dev org, and then you build a package, it uploads it to the App Exchange, and then it's available to install in other places.
Interesting. So can I ask a question about the Scratch orgs? Because I am familiar with Scratch orgs, but your dev, I'm thinking of like my dev hub is like my enterprise org currently, right? Mm-hmm. Now, but at the same time, the Scratch org doesn't really get loaded with any schema. So are you just saying, okay, I have this project file that, I guess no, I think it still should take the schema from the, how do you deal with the Scratch orgs for this dev sure. thing, which I didn't think had Scratch orgs, right?
So my source of truth is source control. Yep. So everything comes out of source control and I push it into a Scratch org. When you are working with a Scratch org, there's an option to specify a namespace in your project setup. So if you specify a namespace, the Scratch org will actually take on the same namespace as your managed package org, so that you can work with code from a Scratch perspective, do all the normal things, and then when you're ready, in my case, I use a continuous integration tool to then deploy it into my packaging org, build the package, and go from there. So Scratch orgs are definitely fully compliant with the build flow from a ISV perspective.
Okay, sorry, can I repeat that and like clarify, because I might have some of it wrong. So is it true that the licensing for the Scratch org still comes from your enterprise org, but you set the namespace in the project and then you're pulling the actual source from GitHub or whatever your source control is? You're doing your work, you're actually connecting to your dev org to like to run the stuff or to do your development. And then deploying per whatever else. Is that an understanding of where the Scratch org is coming from? Okay.
Yep. The only time I do anything in my dev org is to deploy a release that I'm ready and then build the package and upload. So I actually don't have to do much in that org from a normal day-to-day flow.
What CI tool or
I'm currently on the Atlassian stack, so I use Bitbucket with pipelines.
Okay. Okay, I'll let other people ask questions. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Great, thank you. Carl, before you mute yourself, will you explain to everybody what a Scratch org is, how long it's available, and why you would use it?
So a Scratch org is really just a temporary org that is built for development purposes. It can last anywhere from a day to 30 days at most. And it's fairly easy for you to push code from a tool like Visual Studio or another tool that you're using to pull down changes, to track those changes, and it really fits into a more modern form of development rather than the old happy soup org-centric model that Salesforce used to be in.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Cindy, unmute yourself and ask away.
You were breaking up there. Did you say Cindy? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Cindy.
Okay. My question is, we've had issues. We just turned on files, attachments as files. In our
I can hear you now.
Okay. We've just turned on email to files within the last month because we've switched our users over to Lightning and on email to Case. And so what they're trying to do is reply to or forward from the feed on emails, and they're running into insufficient access rights on Object ID. And support says to give modify all on documents to the profiles. So I'm just wondering, has anybody else run into this where this issue and you can't actually change the attachments that are part of the email when you're doing that in the feed?
Can anyone help Cindy with that while I work on some tech issues on this end?
So I just didn't know if maybe people aren't using the feed, the reply all in the feed, or the forward, and just using the email, activity to send emails from cases. I guess nobody else has run into this.
Did everybody hear Cindy's question? I was starting to have tech issues on my side, so I want to make sure that y'all can
I was
still
able
hear
to
it.
hear loud and clear. I
Okay.
have not run into it before, Cindy. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry
All right,
about
well,
that, Cindy.
I thought I would check.
I'm glad that you did. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, and hopefully y'all can still hear me. Carl, I just made you a co-presenter just in case I get disconnected. So hope you don't
Okay.
mind me promoting you.
No, not at
Just
all.
in case you just keep the conversation going if I get disconnected. All right, thank you. Let's see. Irina has a question. And it looks like Irina posted it in the chat. So I'm not sure, Irina, if you can unmute yourself and have ask this question. If not, one of the questions I have for you is, are you working in Classic or Lightning?
Hi,
Hi
I'm
there.
working in Lightning.
You're working in Lightning. Okay, so
Yes, I thought about creating a screen floor, and add a send email button on the contact record page. I thought it would be easy task, but for some reason it's not working for me. I don't know how to tackle this scenario. If somebody can help me with this, that would be really nice. I posted my question on the chatter. So what I want to do, I want to have a send email button on the contact record page. And this button will allow user to select one of the pre-designed email template. This email template will be pre-populated with the from line, with the to line, but at the same time, user should have ability to add more email addresses to the to line, to the BCC line, and the user should have ability to update body of the email prior to sending this email out.
okay, so the first thing I'm hearing you say is you want a button that allows them to select one of 3 email templates?
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen that done as a button.
I assume it will be a flow screen flow. On the screen flow, I will give a choice for several email templates. User will select the desired email template. This will open email, and the body of the email will be pre-populated with some information, but user should have ability to make changes to the body of the email, make changes to the to line, add to the BCC line, etc.
That's all going to be code, which is outside of my purview. But hey, anybody else, jump in, please.
I did private message Irene, but what we, at my last org, we used macros to do this. So we had a macro for each template. And so it, when you set up the macro, you can do all that stuff. That's how we handled it.
Yeah, thank you for this reply. I will take a look. I've never worked with macro in Salesforce. I will need to something new to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Irina, are you doing this in Sales Cloud or Service Cloud?
Service Cloud. No. Sorry, I'm doing just within our organization.
Do you okay? So is it for sales or is it for service that you're trying to do?
Sales.
Sales.
I don't know what you're asking about.
Okay. The reason that I was asking because, and I'm sorry, I didn't get who gave us the response of the macros. Aren't macros only available in Service Cloud under the service the Service Console, or am I wrong?
I see. No, we don't use Service Console. We have Enterprise Edition. We don't have Service. No, we don't have Service Console.
Okay, you'd have to check and see if that's now available for the Sales Console.
Okay.
But I like where she's going with it. I just want to make sure that you go down the right path there.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. That's
Okay.
good to know. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. John Stein's got a question. Oh, and there's a lot going on in the chat. This is great.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, thank you, Josh.
Great. Okay, so I've got a Lightning for Outlook or Outlook integration question. So my org is very heavy on using tasks. And when a task is created from within the web interface, it will automatically fire off an email notification to the person that's assigned to the task. However, when one is created via Lightning for Outlook or Outlook integration, whatever they call it now, it does not do that. And I can't find what I thought is, well, I'll just find some sort of unique identifier on it to see that it's coming from the Outlook integration and create my own workflow or whatever automation I need to do. However, I can't find anything specific that says, hey, this new task record is coming from Outlook. So I can't build anything off of that. I'm trying to do it so it's seamless to the user. I can create a checkbox within the quick action in Outlook. So it says to notify, but I prefer not to have to do that. But does anybody know of a way to identify records that are created via the Outlook integration?
That is an interesting question. Anybody? I'm trying to think of if there's anyone I know who is using the Outlook integration. Let me take that as a note and see if I can find somebody for you.
Okay.
And just write this down.
I think it's a tough one. I've posted it to several Salesforce communities,
Okay.
Salesforce Ohana, which the Slack board, which people usually get back pretty fast, and kind of dead air from everybody. I don't think anybody knows how to do it.
Any of our developers on the line? You have any creative ideas?
Hello, this is
Yes.
Mag. We had the similar issue, and it's a known issue from Salesforce, and then they fixed it as part of a patch. So we contacted Salesforce. Since for a few orgs, the patch didn't go well. So raising a Salesforce support ticket with that known issue will help them to resolve it quickly.
Oh, interesting.
So I did that yesterday. They haven't gotten back to me yet, and I pointed towards the known issue that's out there. But are you saying that if I raise that support case that they should push the patch through to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's correct. No, actually the patch would have been applied, but there are some settings behind the screen which didn't enable for us. So they did that, and then we started getting the notification.
Oh, awesome. Good to know. Appreciate it.
All right. I think we have a solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, let's see. So let's go over to the chat if everyone wants to take a look and see. Johanna has a question. Do you want to take yourself off of mute and dive into this more?
Sure. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Okay. As I mentioned, my first question is about our first address line. Our mailing street address is being like triplicated or doubled, and we're trying to figure out what is causing this to happen at our org. And we thought it started happening when we implemented Pardot. We reached out to them last year when we first thought this. They looked and said, no, it's nothing from Pardot standpoint. And then we run a couple of debug logs with some of our consultants who are developers to see, okay, is it potentially Classy? Because that has access for the addresses. We looked into it, it wasn't Classy. We can't figure out what is causing it to happen. So I guess my first question is, has anyone seen this before? Has this been an issue with different installed packages, maybe that we're just not thinking of? Or any tips on how to figure out what is causing this to happen? And I could share my screen if it helps, just to visually see what's happening.
Sure. Yep. Let me go ahead and stop on my side and then. Okay, now you should be able to share.
Okay.
Which object is this that you're having the issue on?
So it's happening on our contact object.
Okay.
And let me share this. So this is just a screenshot I took of someone's address information. So leading to a different question, the second question was this other issue, but here we could see that it keeps flipping the addresses from the mailing street address from just the correct address to doubling it, and then sometimes it's even triplicating it.
Okay. Do you have, okay, so you said this is on contacts. Do you have track changes turned on for that field?
Yeah, that's how we're viewing this. This is, what do you mean by track changes?
So you can go to the fields and relationships, and you can turn on what's called track changes. So that'll show you who made a change to that field, what the old value was, and then what the new value is. It'll be a related list on the contact.
Are you not able to see that on my screen right now?
No, what I'm seeing right now is just, oh wait. Well, what I'm not seeing in this screenshot, yes. What I'm not seeing in this screenshot is who made the change. So I see user. I'm assuming when I first looked at that, my brain saw owner. Sorry about that.
And we're trying to narrow down to figure out like the date and time to see if it's consistent. It hasn't been consistent, so it's just been a pain to try to figure out what the heck is causing this to happen.
Okay, so have
Are
you
you on
figured
a
out? Go ahead.
standard Salesforce license? Are you NPSP?
NPSP.
NPSP?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would guess it's tied into the address between managing a contact and updating the accounts, or vice versa. So if you go into some of those NPSP settings, I forget the ones off the top of my head that control changing contacts addresses. It would be somewhere in there, would be my thought.
Yeah,
because
we've
that's
looked
all
at
the
that
trigger
too.
logic that would change your address based off of somebody doing something else.
All right, I'll take a look at it again. It's been a while since I've looked at those NPSP integration. We thought it had to do with the address module, so we were looking to turn it off since we don't track seasonal addresses or use it for what it's meant to be used for. So that's gonna be our next step, is to shut that off and see if that helps with any of this.
Okay. Have you posted on the Power of Us?
I could do it again because this has been going on for so long. I'm just kind of readdress the issue since it's still going on. We have some appeals going out, and So I will post it again in the Power of Us Hub. I didn't get any feedback, and I still have an open case of Pardot again, just to have them take a look at it again to see if it could be anything with Pardot, which I don't think it is. But
the other thing, you said you traced it. So did you turn on debug logs when somebody was making changes? Did you trace just the user, or did you trace any automated processes too?
so I didn't set it up. One of our developers did. I'm pretty sure it tracked the automated processes, because then we thought it had to do with Classy, because we noticed that something was running around the same time from Classy. And so then we asked Classy to look into it, and they're like, no, it has nothing to do with us. So
You're on the right track. I mean, those are the things I would be doing if I was seeing this.
great. Okay, and I'll take a look again at the settings and PSP, because it's been a minute since I took a look at those, and then I'll try posting again in the Power of Us, and then we're going to do, like I said, turn off the address object and see if that, or the address management, see if that has anything to do with it. So thanks for that. And then the second thing related, while I have this up, someone had done an upload of our addresses and had tried doing an update, not understanding the NPSP address model, and had inputted incorrect values. So, I mean, here we could see what the old value was and the new value. And now that we've identified this, is looking into some of the address tools. I've run an address history report, et cetera, to see when the changes were made. I'm just struggling with figuring out the best way to approach how to get these addresses to the original value, since so much time has passed since this has happened as well. So I don't know if anybody has any recommendations on how to do that. I don't know if that makes sense as a question. So how to figure out, I guess, which addresses were changed on a specific date, because I think I can narrow it down to that specific date when this upload happened, and then how to go about getting them updated again.
Let me ask one question. How long ago were the addresses changed?
Like a year and a half ago.
A year and a half? Okay, because what typically happens with field history is it's only available for 18 months in the user interface and 24 months via the API. They're enforcing it now. They haven't always, Salesforce hasn't always enforced it. So you're right at that cusp.
I know.
If I had to, I would probably pull out all the data and put it, I do use Einstein Analytics, but if you don't have that spreadsheet, something to narrow down to the date range, and then you can pull out the a field change on this date, here's the original value, and essentially create all those records, and then you need to kind of copy and paste the transpose in Excel to get it into columns so that you can then add it together.
Okay, that's what I figured I'd have to do
with a report. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if there was another way that I just wasn't thinking about, because I know that's going to be...
No, there's not an easy button in audit history that you can just say restore, but that's an interesting idea.
Great. All right. Thanks so much for that feedback, everyone.
There are several backup partners that, if you had had those in place, I think that they would have been able to give you that button, just in case that's something you want to put on your wish list if you find that it would be, beneficial to have that type of a tool, in addition to all of the other things that they do, but for just that one particular thing.
That's a good point too, because we do use own backup.
Yes.
So I wonder if reaching out to them and seeing if maybe the day or two before this happened, see what we can get from them to do the. Okay, I'll think through that a little bit more. Thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Oh, you guys are doing some great resource sharing in the chat window. Thank you so much. And we've got a +1 for own backup, so that's great. All right, let's see. It looks like Christy Kane's got a question.
I do. This is going to be kind of a strange one because it's very high level. It's not a specific technical issue, but the company that I work for just got Salesforce a couple weeks ago, and the integration people are out there, and I'm sitting in all the meetings. And one of the things they purchased, because we had it at a different division, by the way, that's where I was for it, but they said they got Einstein Analytics. Of course, my particular instance doesn't have that. And what I heard in the meeting is they got the Kmart version, and the contract's very long on everything they can't do. And I was wondering if anybody could tell me what the Kmart version of Einstein Analytics is versus the not Kmart version.
Well, didn't Kmart go out of business?
Yeah, that's the way they described it, though. So
That is very strange. Okay. Anybody? I have no idea. That's just a very weird analogy.
if you got the basic Einstein, is that different? Are there different levels of licenses? Because again, I don't get to see the contract because this company that I work for is really huge. So I was just kind of curious what would be limiting if you got the basic version and what, what's good, what's not good. I don't want to go study up on something that they don't have that functionality.
And Christy, you said Einstein Analytics?
Einstein Analytics, yeah, along with Sales Cloud. Mm-hmm.
So I'll give the kind of rundown of how Einstein Analytics is included in different things, and it's probably one of the first. Well, let's talk about the Platinum edition. So you have Einstein Analytics Plus, which is Einstein Analytics plus Einstein Discovery, and you get 1 billion rows.
Okay.
After that, you can buy just Einstein. I think it's called Growth now. It has lower limits. It doesn't include the discovery piece. You can purchase what are known as standalone apps. So if you wanted to just do sales analytics or service analytics or B2B marketing analytics, you can have those things. What was probably purchased is Sales Cloud Einstein, which has non-Einstein Analytics features like lead scoring, but then also includes a limited use license where you can use Einstein Analytics to analyze the things related to Sales Cloud. So I would guess that is quote unquote the Kmart version because it's meant to give you the ability to just analyze that data. You can bring in your custom objects, but you can't bring in any external data, or you can't create blank dashboards. You can only use dashboards from the templates that they have provided to you. So that's my guess.
Oh, no, that makes a lot of sense now that you say that. So I do have a kind of a second question with that then. The stuff that I would see on Trailhead, is that Einstein Analytics or is there anything for Sales Cloud Einstein?
There's both out there.
Awesomeness. Thank you.
Things that are focused on app are usually the Sales Cloud Analytics app where you click a button, you answer a few questions, it gets all your opportunities and leads and gives you some pre-built dashboards. From there, you can customize the dashboards, but you're not going to be creating a whole new blank app and pull in your ERP data from SAP, for example. You're using it just to analyze what's available in Salesforce. That's what I would call the Kmart version.
Thank you so much. That makes so much more sense than what they were saying on the meeting that I went, what is that? Okay,
Perfect.
Thank you.
And Carl to the rescue. Thank you, Carl.
Oh, my.
Okay, any other questions?
I want to go back to Irina's question just for 1 second.
Yeah.
You may also be able to do that with just a custom action because you can specify the email template and pre-fill certain values on the custom action. So do take a look at that to see if it meets your specific needs before you have to go and write a complete flow for it.
Custom action, okay.
Because there is an email custom action. A lot of times we use it to update records or create a related record, but you can also do email from in there.
Okay.
And Carl, with the custom action, we can only dedicate one email to it, right? So since she's got 3, she'd have to have 3 custom actions.
Well, you can put on the page the email template, and I think you'd be able to pick from the email templates that you have available to decide which one you want to use.
Okay.
It may not work. It just was something else that you could possibly look at.
All right, cool.
Can you say again, where should I look at to check custom action?
So I'll post a link in the chat around the custom quick actions.
Oh, custom quick actions. Okay. So you are saying I will be able to add a link to send the email?
Yeah, so one of the examples they give is predefined fields lets you populate a quick action with default values. For example, in an email action, you can include CC and BCC, add email template, ensure the emails are associated with Salesforce records.
Oh,
So it may help.
okay. I will take a look. Thank you.
All right, great. And it looks like Sarah Hilser has a question about Community Cloud. You want to unmute yourself and ask away?
Sure. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
My question is, we have a Lightning customer community, and we are using Nonprofit Success Packs. So we also have. It's a little complicated because a contact has a household account, but they can also be affiliated with an organization account. So it's sort of one-to-many in that case. And what I'd like to do is, in the customer community, have a contact be able to update information on their organization account, but only one person from that organization can do it. So I was thinking of using audience targeting for the component that will allow them to update it, but I wasn't sure how to restrict that audience to just one person from that organization. And I was realizing that you can set criteria based off the user object, but I wasn't sure, is there a way to set that criteria to, so say the user's company is equal to the name of the account I'm trying to have them update, or can you only set it to certain values? Or is there another way I could do that, achieve my goal? I don't know if anybody has experience with that, but.
If we don't get a recommendation for you, I can suggest contacting Phil Weinmeister through Community, because he is, he's authored a couple of books about Community Cloud. So he would be my go-to person for something like that.
Cool.
Are you the customer or partner community?
It's a customer community.
Okay.
So these are contacts in our CRM who are enabled as customer users in the community, one of whom has been designated as like the person who can update that account, sort of like, and we could either set it as the primary, and it's through the affiliation junction object that they're associated with the organization. So there's like settings on the affiliation to say, okay, you're the designated one for this account. And I just wanted to know how to like restrict the ability to update the account to that person. But looks like there's an app that might be helpful.
What I was thinking when it was from a partner community perspective was just assigning them different profiles, one profile not having edit access on the account.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I think what's a little tricky is it's not sort of their primary account because that's their household account.
Okay.
So they're not actually in this account. They're just affiliated with it.
Gotcha.
Which is the tricky layer.
Yep.
Hi, this is Adi here.
Hi, Adi.
The link I posted on the chat is, I think, is going to really helpful because you can do the conditional information pulling with related data, and you can put the dynamic filters, and that is, I think, you are looking probably. You can try that, see if that helps.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Awesome.
Okay, looks like Scott has got another question for us. Scott, go ahead.
Hi. It's kind of a continuation of the other one. I'd like to know maybe some of the common pain points in a deployment pipeline. Like I've been reading about profiles and permission set migration, validation rules, breaking deployments. I was wondering if anybody could talk to those and kind of, flesh out like how that works actually in the wild.
Anyone?
It's okay, just asking.
The main pain I have is definitely around profiles and different org types. So if somebody builds an enterprise scratch org and pulls down the profile, it has permissions that the developer org doesn't have, and then next deploy to a developer org fails. So that one is certainly the biggest pain point currently for me. In the past, flows used to be an issue, but now with flow templates, it's not so bad. Other than that, I haven't come across anything that I would say causes my hair to turn gray.
So flows, I haven't heard about that one before. So
Well,
flow
in the
templates
past,
are good.
Yeah, well, now you can package flow templates instead. Before flows and the flow, it needed a specific version, and it was a little bit difficult from a deployment perspective.
Okay.
I don't think that one's as problematic anymore.
Okay. Anybody else have a random question that just came to my mind? If I have a bunch of process builders that are attached to objects, and my understanding is there's basically no way of unattaching these without rebuilding them. So like I have this scenario where like I have like 20 friggin' process builders attached to one object, and my long-term objective is to serialize them to like have one process builder that then calls other process builders or Apex, etc. But my understanding is that I have to actually rebuild each of these process builders. I can't just like unattach them from the object. Does anybody know of like a hack or any way of like doing it through the API or something?
I wonder if there's an idea out there for that, if it's even feasible. Because I know it took them a long time to get us, copy the nodes or move the nodes around.
Do you know if you can copy the nodes from one process builder to the other process builder?
I don't believe that you can. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
I don't even think that we can clone processes to use as a starting point and then to manipulate it. So I think we're out of luck there. All right, let me do a time check real quick. We've got about, 13 minutes. Does anyone else have a question, thoughts, resources, challenges?
I have a question about migrating from Classic to Lightning, particularly about our notes. So I did Magic Mover in our sandbox and did it for a specified period of time to move some of our documents over, and it seems to be working well. I guess I just wasn't able to find what happens with our Google Docs that we have. Where do those get put? Do they get put in enhanced notes or files?
That's a good question. I have heard of that tool. I've heard it's great, but I have not had an opportunity to use it yet. Has anyone else used it? I can reach out to somebody I know who has used it. I'm sorry, who asked that question?
This is Joanna.
Joanna. So we need to know, where do Google Docs go? Yeah, Magic. Okay, let me see if I can find out for you.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, anyone else? Don't be shy. If not, we can certainly give you back a couple of minutes into your day to go, maybe start happy hour early or something. If not, you guys have all been amazing. I am really happy, pleased with all of the links that were shared, all of everybody searching and finding resources, and then of course everyone sharing their experiences. Thank you so much to the two MVPs who joined us today. Loved having you guys with us. Hope that you'll come back. You guys have got some great contributions, so we would love for you to continue to share through this opportunity. If there aren't any other questions, I will bid you adieu until our next call in September.
One quick thing. Can you just remind me of the name of that community expert again, or put it in chat?
Sure. It's
Thanks.
Phil Weinmeister.
Phil Weinmeister. Thank you.
You got it.
Great call.
All right. Super. Glad that we were able to help everybody. Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you in September.